Today we're going to be covering one of the most least understood colors in Spectro-Chrome. That is the color magenta. Now, if you guys do a quick research online and search for the history of magenta, you'll find that it's a town in Italy where a battle happened, and I guess due to the bloodiness of that battle, uh, people saw that and created the pigment and named it magenta. However, in Spectro-Chrome, we're not dealing with pigments, we're dealing with radiant energy or light. And Dinshah chose to name this creation that he created in about 1897, and he called it magenta because I think it reflected that pigment color. But the way he created it was a lot different. So he utilized the first color of the visible spectrum, the color red, and the last color of the visible spectrum, the color violet, and basically superimposed those two colors, and that which is kind of like bending the rainbow backwards, and that created what an astronomer named Herschel called second octave of colors. Now, I did read another book by Edwin Dwight Babbitt in his book called The Principles of Light and Color. I think it was published in 1878, if my memory serves me. And in that book, he mentions a color very similar, but he calls that color crimson. But it's very hard to see whether or not that it was the same color, because obviously it's a book from the 1800s, and I don't have any copies of his filters. So it makes it very hard. But with that said, Dinshah calls it his original creation. And what's very important about this color is that it really helps you understand the framework of Spectro-Chrome. So magenta is the other pole of the Spectro-Chrome. So Spectro-Chrome has two poles, just because we're dealing with energy. Just like any other energy, it has a positive and negative. The positive pole is the color green, and if you guys, I did make a video on the color green, and that color is created by superimposing the color. Well, no, it's one of the primary colors, so it's not superimposed. Apologies on that, but that is the physical equilibrator. I'll actually change this to a picture here, because a picture speaks 1,000 words, as they say. And here is clearly shows that the color green is the median color, and it's usually used for all nature revels in green is what I've read, and it is a physical equilibrator. It's great for muscles and things like that. However, the color magenta is the other pole. It's the negative pole, and this color deals with the circulatory color. So in order to understand the color scarlet and the color purple, you need to understand the color magenta. So again, just to finalize, the color green in Spectro-Chrome kind of signifies the head, and the color magenta signifies the reproductive system. So they work hand in hand, and it kind of shows the framework of Spectro-Chrome and its balancing functions. So that's the second point I wanted to make in regards to the color magenta. So the third point I wanted to make in regards to the color magenta is to discuss some of the attributes of it, because the color magenta, it has many attributes. It's an emotional equilibrator. So unlike the color green, which is a physical equilibrator, on the south pole here that we're discussing, it works on emotions. So it's very good if people have emotional issues. It's a great color. I've read about this in other books. In the book of Edwin Dwight Babbitt on the Principles of Light and Color, he also talks about letters that were being exchanged with the Vatican, and using specific colors for people that had mental health issues. It is also a cardiac energizer, so it functions amazingly on the heart. And the reason for that is, in Spectro-Chrome, the utmost stress is laid upon the functioning of the heart and lungs, Again, they work hand in hand, both being interrelated. And according to Spectro-Chrome, these organs represent the human vital vehicle. As these organs represent the human vital vehicle, any physical damage may be repaired as long as this vital breath is in correct condition. So, in his encyclopedia, he mentions a term like he mentions a story that he's never met someone to be dead that has that their heart and lungs are in rhythm. There's something a little bit more in depth. I don't know if I'll go into it here, but it is in Spectro-Chrome. We call it the ratio. And let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video on the ratio. But it's basically how you determine the rhythm. And it's a very simple equation of your heartbeat divided by breaths per minute. And that will give you a ratio. If you guys want a more in-depth video on that, please let me know in the comments. Another attribute of the color magenta is that it works on your adrenal, suprarenal glands that sit on top of your kidneys, which release epinephrine, and that kind of gets into the blood, and it works on the heart on either direction. So if someone has, for example, low blood pressure, it will bring it back to balance, or if someone has high blood pressure, it will bring that back to balance. It is also a diuretic, and it, according to Dinshah and Spectro-Chrome, it is the color of most people's aura. So he writes that it also works on your aura. And lastly, I want to kind of give you my take. Magenta is one of my favorite colors. It's a great color to start with. I usually use magenta in the evening and use green in the morning. Those two colors are my two favorite colors, and it's great to start with those two colors as well. So usually a good point of start would be in the morning, tonate with the color green, in the evening with the color magenta, and do that for about a week or two. Every time I do it, I notice a difference, specifically in my heart, my rhythm. It's like I can almost breathe better. Like I can breathe deeper, more relaxed. My heart relaxes, my breath relaxes, and usually after the tonation, I feel good. So that's my take on the color magenta. I hope you find value in this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. And if not, thank you for watching, and I'll see you for my next video. Peace.